Politics, as we've said so many times on this channel before, they're everywhere. And in fact, every aspect of our lives. Politics governs everything from the taxes we pay to where those taxes end up going. They govern how big industry is allowed to pollute. They govern who can freely enter into and move around a country, and a whole lot more besides. Politics influences the laws we must abide by. They affect who we're allowed to marry, and they also affect what big companies and the people who run them can and cannot do. And in the USA, thanks to a little Supreme Court decision in 2010 in a case called Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, it's now perfectly legal for large companies, corporations, and individuals to donate massive amounts of money to political campaigns to try and help politicians win elections. Politicians who can then turn around and do the things that the said wealthy donors originally wanted them to do. This year, in the US, we have a presidential election that is nothing like we've seen before. Aside from the two presidential candidates being the oldest we've ever had in history, one candidate running is a convicted felon. That very same candidate, former President Donald Trump, was also the target of a failed assassination attempt very recently. And as we find ourselves less than 16 weeks away from the US general election, and societal fracturing that we're going to see is likely only going to get worse. And even if you're not in the US, the results of the US election will have dramatic effects on global politics. But it will, as we've noted before, also have a massive impact on the electric auto industry, determining which automakers sell which models where, the level of investment ploughed into creating a cleaner, greener, safer, smarter and more equitable world, and ultimately how quickly we can transition the world's fleet to EVs. Right now, regardless of what you might think about other campaign topics, the Republican Party has traditionally skewed towards policies that are anti-EV, anti-science, and pro-fossil fuel. It's traditionally denied the existence of anthropogenic climate change, and in its current campaign is promising to deregulate industry and eliminate government agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency. So you might think that someone who has literally made billions of dollars off the back of EV sales, someone who is CEO of a company that helped spearhead the modern EV movement, would perhaps not want to align themselves with the Republican Party. Yet reporting this week claims Elon Musk is just about to do that, citing anonymous sources close to the Tesla CEO that claim he's readying to donate $45 million per month between now and the US presidential election in November to a new pro-Donald Trump super PAC. That story broke the very same day as Donald Trump's running mate was announced, a politician who has called for EV incentives to be cancelled and for the federal government to introduce ICE car incentives instead. So we should talk about this because not only is there a lot of misinformation flying around, regardless of if the story is true or not, there's an awful lot to unpack. As you might have guessed, today's video is about politics, and it's going to be divisive as a consequence. And if you are a regular to this channel, you'll know that we recently decided to turn off comments on the videos that we've been making after what's been really a hellish couple of months for my team and myself. But this is not because we want to stifle discussion, but rather because we want to ensure that the discussion that happens is high quality and empathic, which is why we are encouraging people to join our Discord chat room for free. The link is in the down below, or make comments on our Patreon page. Both of these locations have not suffered the spam and worse of YouTube, and have more moderation options available to the team. I just wanted to acknowledge that without reiterating what we already noted in a post that I will also link to down below. To discuss today's video, we're going to be touching on the political journey that Elon Musk has been on in recent years. And I want to reiterate that just because you can be critical of, or indeed just highlight actions and comments of an individual, it doesn't mean you're trying to lessen or dismiss the impacts that a company they're associated with has made on the world. Tesla, as operated by Elon Musk, has played a massive role in the expansion of EV availability and choice in the last decade. Its vehicles have, for many years, been something of a benchmark for others seeking to bring EVs to market, and for good reason. But it's also totally possible to praise the vehicle and the company's historical impacts while simultaneously highlighting some of the issues that Elon Musk's politics are currently bringing to the wider table and potentially causing a loss for Tesla in the future. And it's totally possible to do all of that while also highlighting what that might mean for Tesla moving forwards. So, let's start. Yesterday, after the beginning of the RNC conference in Milwaukee and after an official announcement and nomination of J.D. Vance as the official running mate of Donald Trump for the Republican Party in the 2024 US presidential election, the Wall Street Journal ran a story alleging that Elon Musk was readying to donate around $45 million a month to a super PAC, that's a political action committee, charged with helping elect Donald Trump to a second term in the White House. The Wall Street Journal's article, citing anonymous sources close to the Super Political Action Committee in question, aka America PAC, claims that Elon Musk made his first of several planned monthly donations in the first half of July. The Super PAC has already published its list of donors for the second quarter, during which it raised $8.8 million and spent $7 million. Elon Musk's name is not on that list. On the list for that quarter, though, are former Tesla board member Antonio Gracias, along with other tech entrepreneurs and investors known to be associates and close friends of Elon Musk. But at this point, I would be negligent in my reporting if I didn't note that the association does not translate to donations. Elon Musk himself went on his social media network to respond to the Wall Street Journal article, posting a fake news meme in response to that story. That, as of the time of recording this on the 16th of July 2024, is all that Elon Musk has officially said on the matter, but the Wall Street Journal has already fired back, stating it, quote, stands by its reporting, end quote. And look, newspapers can be wrong. But at the same time, the Wall Street Journal does have a pretty stringent editorial policy, and while it has made some glaring errors in the past, as have all news outlets, including this one, it generally corrects errors and is considered a business publication. It's also, interestingly, part of Dow Jones, which is in turn owned by Rupert Murdoch's News Corp, which is known for primarily having a heavily pro-Republican lean. In 2018, the Wall Street Journal was rated third most accurate and fourth most unbiased news by a joint survey between Gallup and the Knight Foundation. The latter, if you don't know, is a well-known US non-profit that supports free expression and journalism, arts, and cultural projects. That very same survey also placed the Wall Street Journal in second place for Republicans as the most trusted news source, and in 10th place by Democrats. Again, I'm telling this all to you because context is good. Now you know a little more about the report, let's delve into Elon's recent actions that we do know about. While we will not know for sure one way or another until official paperwork comes out, it's certainly worth noting that Musk has publicly endorsed Donald Trump multiple times in recent weeks, and on Saturday, following the horrific assassination attempt on candidate Trump at a political rally, Elon Musk made his most recent. And to be clear, it is both our company's view, and my personal view that assassination attempts of any stripe should be rightly and strongly condemned, regardless of the target. But with regard to Elon Musk's support of candidate Trump, it is, after all, a free world. He should be allowed to state his support for his chosen candidate, and in a democracy, you are allowed to support the candidate you feel is best suited to the role in that election. And at the same time, there are also consequences. Most noticeable in Elon Musk's case is the support for candidates that have said a whole load of things about EVs and green transportation and green energy that just do not line up in any way with Tesla's stated goals. And in supporting these candidates, Elon Musk is effectively supporting people who are happy to attack the thing that one of his companies is pushing for. If the reporting is true, Elon Musk's massive donations have been made possible by the windfall Tesla shareholders recently okayed. If it's false, he is still openly supporting candidates who are overtly anti-EV. By now, candidate Trump's views on electric vehicles are widely known. He has regularly attacked EVs at campaign rallies, calling them all kinds of names and insinuating that EVs will somehow kill the US auto industry and will rely on Chinese-made EVs in order to exist, a fact that's patently false, proven already by the industry, and that's before we even deal with the tariffs currently being levied on Chinese-made EVs that makes them pretty much uneconomical to import in any shape or form to the US. Candidate Trump has claimed that electric vehicles won't travel more than half an hour before needing to be charged and will strand you in the cold. He's even tried to claim that electric boats will kill you if they capsize because... water? If you haven't already seen or watched his take on electric boats versus sharks from earlier this year, it is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. Just like his take on so many other so-called hot-button topics like LGBTQIA plus rights and immigration. But let's not go there because this is a video about EVs. And also, can we really stop using the term hot-button topics, please? I feel this euphemism needs to disappear. Candidate Trump has also spread plenty of misinformation about the auto industry as a whole and alleged that the US is not energy independent right now, and stated that it isn't drilling enough. Earlier this year, for the first time in more than 40 years, the US became a net exporter of fossil fuels, and the US electricity grid is less dependent on fossil fuels today than at any point in its history, thanks to renewable energy. Donald Trump has also gone on the record plenty criticising approaches designed to mitigate anthropogenic climate change, calling climate change a hoax. He's claimed wind turbines don't work, have a larger carbon footprint than any other form of energy, and has stated they're even killing birds. The latter claim, of course, has been very publicly disproven by the US Fish and Wildlife Service, whose data shows that while collisions between wind turbines and birds do kill between 140,000 to 500,000 wild birds annually, domesticated cats kill up to 4 billion birds a year in the US, and we are not hearing anyone calling for a ban on domesticated cats. Because candidate Trump is known for changing his attitudes on things based on whom is donating to his campaign, it is conceivable that Elon Musk genuinely believes he can change Donald Trump's attitudes towards EVs. And maybe he can. There is some reporting to suggest that for a short while Donald Trump did ease off a little on EVs. But yesterday's announcement of J.D. Vance as vice president candidate for the Republican Party speaks volumes, not only because of his frankly scary, authoritarian views on LGBTQIA plus rights, reproductive healthcare, and so much more, but because of several bills he's either introduced or supported in the US Senate. Vance, technically still a junior senator ahead of yesterday's announcement, has only served in Congress for 2 years, but has been vocal during this time for opposing progressive policies designed to make the world a cleaner, greener, safer, smarter, and more equitable place to be. His website still details his Drive American Act, introduced in September last year as Senate Bill 2962. That bill, currently being examined by the Senate Committee on Finance, proposes scrapping all federal funding for EVs, clean vehicles and infrastructure, and instead replacing them with a new tax credit for gas and diesel-powered vehicles made in the US by US workers. That bill proposes the same $7,500 tax credit and doesn't have a requirement for union-made vehicles. What's more, Vance's bill, which, let's be honest, is unlikely to actually ever go anywhere right now, proposes a maximum of $7,500 of incentives per ICE vehicle, but actually increases the incentives based on how many seats you have and increases it for vehicles with larger payload capacities. Yeah, that's right. The running mate of Donald Trump wants to bring about a federal law that effectively incentivizes people to buy larger, heavier, more polluting vehicles. It seems almost a foregone conclusion then to assume that Vance's candidacy has been heavily backed by the oil and gas industry. And historically, you'd be right. In 2022, the oil and gas industry spent close to $250,000 ensuring he won his Ohio Senate seat. And that support didn't go unrewarded. In just 2 years in the Senate, in addition to the Drive American Act I just told you about, he co-sponsored Senate Bill 319, aka the Power Act. It's designed to force the executive branch, i.e. the president and federal agencies, to seek congressional approval before delaying or denying leases or permits for oil, gas and mining operations on federally owned lands. Then there's the Stove Act, or Senate Bill 244, which aimed to stop the federal government from banning the sale of fossil-fueled stoves and other fossil-fueled home appliances that contribute to poor air quality. Taking all of this in context, Drill Baby Drill has never seemed more clear. With all of the above, and let me tell you, it's just the tip of the iceberg, you might think that Elon Musk wouldn't be that okay on supporting candidates with such a proven track record of showing malice towards cleaner, greener, safer, smarter, and more equitable transportation. Regardless of reporting on the donation being true or false, just simply publicly stating support, especially without any qualifying statements, just feels completely untenable. In the time since we filmed this video and us editing it, Elon Musk has actually made comment on the end of EV tax subsidies, noting that they will help rather than hinder Tesla. He's also noted, however, that he's anti-subsidy entirely, so it's kind of halfway house with regard to J.D. Vance's bill. But I acknowledge that politics can be really messy. For example, I should lay my own personal cards on the table. I am a registered Democrat. Surprise, surprise. But that doesn't mean I support all of the policies currently being enacted or proposed by the Democratic Party, or indeed President Biden. I do not support the ongoing occupation of Gaza by Israel, and I definitely do not support the US government sending weapons to the Gaza Strip that Israel is clearly and patently using indiscriminately on civilians. I would very much like to find an alternative candidate for president on the Democrat ticket for the presidential election. But right now that is off the table. But that doesn't matter, because I can be vocal about wanting to change those things within my party. And that's what's missing here with Elon Musk. He has not been vocal about the anti-EV stuff on the Republican ticket. And that's worrying. Politically, Elon Musk does lean heavily to the right these days. He's gained some notoriety in his response to government agencies and regulations. He's fought against everything from mask mandates to health and safety rules. He's moved his company to Texas to avoid what he perceived as being overregulation and government overreach. He moved his company's state of incorporation to Texas to avoid what he perceived as being unfair judicial verdicts. And just last night, when we were editing the A-roll down from this very video, which is why it's slightly late, Elon Musk announced that he will move all of his remaining companies out of California and into Texas, after California Governor Newsom signed a new bill into law that Musk stated on X was, quote, the final straw. That law, which Musk states is attacking families, is designed to prevent LGBTQIA+ students from being forcibly outed by school staff to non-supportive families, and requires schools to provide resources to support families of LGBTQIA+ students from grade 7 upwards. Contrary to Musk's and other Republicans' statements on the matter, it's not anti-family, it's specifically designed to ensure students aren't forcibly outed to family members who may be unsupportive, leading to abuse or worse. I don't want to delve into this in great detail here, but there are many studies that show how vulnerable LGBTQIA+ youth are, and how much of the abuse they suffer comes from non-supportive family members. On top of all of that, Elon has willingly and actively participated in the spread of conspiracy theories without first checking on their veracity, including ones that have been related to political violence, public health, and most personally for the team here at the channel, LGBTQIA+ rights. The latter of which only became noticeable when one of Elon Musk's own children came out as a trans woman. Moreover, Tesla and SpaceX both stand accused of some pretty massive violations of environmental protection laws, and to date, Elon Musk hasn't addressed them publicly in great detail. Instead, he's focused almost exclusively on conservative talking points that demean others and, frankly, have very little basis in proven fact. Meanwhile, if he doesn't see the value of it, he rails against it, and he has the money to effect change, which in of itself is another discussion on the sad state of political power in the world today. As folks who, I hope, are looking for a cleaner, greener, safer, smarter, and more equitable future, some of the vehicles that Tesla have made have helped bring that transition forward, and we can't and shouldn't downplay the important part that Tesla has played to date in getting us to this point. However, I think it's also difficult to continue to portray Elon Musk as the champion CEO of EVs. He's now focused on other things which, I'll be honest, have often led to my team receiving significant amounts of hate and vitriol. Every time Elon Musk says something that is remotely transphobic, I can tell you that transphobic comments to us on this channel have risen. People listen to him and still have him on a pedestal. And that needs to stop. And we can hope he will at least be willing to publicly call out his chosen candidates for policies that will, if allowed to pass, decimate the EV progress we've made in the last decade. To finish, let's spend a little bit of time talking about other automakers. Every brand has something unsightly in their past, or sometimes in their current. For example, Lucid is heavily funded by a nation not exactly known for treating women or LGBTQIA+ individuals particularly well. Ford and Volkswagen both have ties to literal Nazis in their past. And many companies today still continue to campaign for dropping EV mandates so they can continue to pollute. And if we want to legitimately see the world get better, the air we breathe get cleaner, and people given the right to exist as they are, rather than how someone thinks they should be, we should be willing to speak out when something just isn't tracking. And Elon Musk supporting politicians that are so overtly EV? That doesn't track, not for the EV industry, and not for anyone who wants to drive an EV. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube. They help cover our bills, pay our team, and they make sure that we can remain 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, just over $10 a year. A massive welcome to our newest supporters: Carol Bulawa, Rolfondo, Michael Owen, Winter, and Wilton Live. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. And of course, if you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations. We even have a good old-fashioned P.O. box that you can reach us at. Address you'll find linked below. And of course, if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below as well. This month, we are celebrating Pride with an amazing new t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator, Erin. You can get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've also got some fantastic content coming up, so make sure that you've hit the subscribe button on either PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we think this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.